Howdy, howdy, howdy. Here we are. I'm Carolyn J. Carpenter, founder of Hollywood Gatekeepers. We are here today to talk about so many cool things, and I am going to get your comments up so I can say hello. Nice to be here. Nice to talk to you. Nice to do these live trainings. One of my favorite things to do is these live trainings. It always takes a minute for people to find us. We are live on YouTube. We are also live in our Hollywood Gatekeepers Facebook group. So see people arriving. Hello, hello. Nice to see you. So today we are going to talk about surviving change. Hello there. Hi there. Good to see you. I love doing these live trainings. And so we want to do them every single week and put them on our YouTube channel as well as in our Facebook group so that y'all can really learn all the different things about Hollywood, about reading screenplays, writing screenplays, your role in that. Where do you fit? How does it all fit together? How is reading a foundation to everything? Because I truly, truly believe that it is. And how does it all fit together? And so as we do that, I'm also a certified life coach. I will be sharing life coach techniques within that because I firmly, firmly believe wholeheartedly that if we can kind of manage our lives and have authentic lives, for one, as readers who are critiquing people, we will be nicer to be around. We'll be able to write critiques that aren't full of our angsty lives, that we'll be able to support writers and producers in a really big way. Not only that, as we navigate change and we navigate things in the industry, the more that we have a handle on our lives and what we're looking for and how can we regulate ourselves and all of that, just the better our lives will be. The more we'll be able to put our stories on the page because our lives won't be all full of drama, right? So that's our goal here at Hollywood Gatekeepers. It's a lofty goal, but I'm really loving it. And I'm really loving the people that show up that are ready for it. Hello, hello. And I'm seeing faces I recognize, well, names I recognize. I can't see your faces, but really lovely to have you guys here. And so I'm going to dive right in. These trainings are only be about 15 minutes. We just want to take a minute to brighten your day with different things about the industry to help you stay on track, be inspired for your goals, figure out what it is. It's different for everyone. Like, how's it going to work out for you? So today we're talking about surviving change because there's so much change happening everywhere, right? So I have 5 different things. 5, my Lord. Sorry. Can't help but quote Shrek. I have 5 things to talk about in regards to surviving change. Now, there are many more ways and many more topics we could do about this, but they're just kind of 5 basic, tips or thoughts or things I want to share to help us really kind of look at change as a whole and then look at change, on a minuscule level in terms of how does it affect our lives. So I'm talking about surviving change, both in our own personal life as well as in Hollywood. So right now, as we are recording this, there is a writer's strike and an actor's strike happening simultaneously. That is going on. It is a big deal. It is making a lot of things, there's a lot of change. It is the whole reason for the strike is to promote change, right? To make changes happen because changes have been happening that have not necessarily been a good thing for writers. So the writer's strike is fueling change, right? Big, scary changes. Change can be very, very scary. But something that I want to point out in terms of Hollywood in general is Hollywood has been through many, many big incarnations of change. And for those of you that attended our boot camp, we went into this in great detail. We also have a mini course where we dive into this in great detail. We have many programs here, but we dive into change and changes in Hollywood in a big way. And I talk about kind of the history. So I'm going to do a little kind of recap here in that, when movies first started, they were basically, moving pictures, and then talkies came in, right? And then big musicals came in, and then propaganda films in the 40s of helping people deal with the war. And then the 50s and all the optimism came in. But what else came in the 50s? Television. And during these changes, when people started talking in movies, everyone who did silent pictures was suddenly like, oh no, I'm not going to have a career. Everything is going to change. It's not going to work. But think about all the jobs that opened up because now there was voice and there were music and there were more jobs opening up to do that, right? Color came in, more jobs, more opportunities, but also a lot of fear because it's changing so much. Television for sure was like, oh, movies are dead for sure. Who's going to go see a movie now? Did that happen? No, because people love movies. We just do. It's part of our storytelling. It's a different kind of experience of storytelling, right? So then we move into like the 60s where we have a lot of, in America anyway, we have a lot of like social change happening. And so we're looking at films changing. And at the time, obviously films are being made everywhere, but the American motion picture kind of machine started happening, and more pictures were being made about cultural things. In the 70s and 80s, this led to the big blockbusters, right? Like big movies like Steven Spielberg comes in, these big filmmakers that make these big movies, the Godfather trilogy, you know, these big filmmakers come in and they start doing what they call tentpole movies, which are the big summer blockbuster that then holds up the tent so you can do other movies underneath with the money from that big movie funding everything, right? That starts happening. It's the studio system. The studio system has been alive from the very beginning when the talkies first started or when silent pictures first started. It was entrepreneurs that got involved to make it happen. This is still a thing. So then in the 90s, it was like, we don't want the big studio system. We're going to start an independent thing. So Robert Redford starts Sundance. Movies start changing, right? So it's like this change thing. And at the time, like, oh no, everything's going to end. But what that did was open up more opportunities for different voices. And it was really a big movement. And what did the big studios do? They open up their independent arms, right? They start like doing that. So as we navigate through change, just really having this understanding that as things change and people panic, also new opportunity is always happening. So we get into the studio systems doing independent films. That becomes the way movies are done for a while. And then in comes Netflix, kind of changes the way that we watch movies. Blockbuster comes even before Netflix. That really changes how we watch movies. HBO comes before Blockbuster. HBO starts saying, hey, you know, you can watch a movie here. You don't have to go out. We're going to like have more and more Blockbuster movies that you can watch. And then Blockbuster goes, that's a good idea. They open Blockbuster. Now you can watch a movie anytime. You can go rent it, right? Netflix comes in and goes, wait a minute, we're going to mail you your movie so you don't have to go to the store. And then streaming starts happening, right? So now we're moving into global, more voices coming out, which is amazing and awesome. But globally, things are changing. We're more aware of other things, right? So globally, films are changing. And then also, media starts changing, streaming starts happening, cable television kind of peaks in the early 2000s, like 2010, 2012. Cable television, people are starting to pay for cable television, which someone said in the beginning, like, no one's going to pay for television. Absolutely they will. If people will pay for good entertainment, they will. They want to. They want good movies, right? So people are starting to pay for cable television, and now we start getting in Google and YouTube and Amazon and Apple and all these streaming sites. And now the landscape is changing with, you know, more and more media companies coming in, movie companies being bought by AT&T and Time Warner and so Viacom. And we're getting like, it's a big change. How's that for a crash course in movie history? So when you look, but the point that I'm trying to make is these are big sweeping changes, and we can look back and go, wow, yeah, and then that happened, and then that happened. It's all so easy, right, from here now. But at the time, it was terrifying for a lot of people and exciting for a lot of people. And now we're in another cycle of change. We're in a cycle of change as we become more aware globally what's happening, as technology changes, as communication changes in our lives, both on a movie level and on our day-to-day level. This is one of the biggest change periods we've ever been through in terms of communication. So as we look at that, being able to be aware of this history and being able to be aware that through every change, there were people that were saying, oh, that's it. It's all over. It's no way. Never going to have work again. No, forget it. And there were people going, oh my goodness, I just had an idea that I can go now do this because I couldn't do it before in the old system. This is happening right now, for sure. People are like, oh, what about this? What about that, right? Yeah, for sure, right, Donna? The evolution of film is so interesting, right? And as the future unfolds, this is how we can prepare for it. And this is how we can navigate and survive change by looking back and seeing, you know, what are the things that we relate to in this change? What are the things that we might want to do differently? How will we handle it? When you watch the people that dug their heels in and Blockbuster said, no, thank you, Netflix. We don't want to partner with you. That's a terrible idea. So it's like, what can we embrace and what can we let go of? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment. So as you look at this change and you look at your lives, where do you fit into this? And I think that as artists in general, if you're here and you're watching this, you're an artist for sure. We are change experts, artists. art is all about change, right? Like it's always fluctuating. If you paint or you create that thing and then you move on to the next one, and every piece has its own life. If you do live theater, every show has its own life. You have a whole group of people. Anyone that's done live theater, you know that with every show you do, it has a whole completely different energy. Even if you're in a like a summer stock or something where it's kind of the same people doing every show is really different. Whether you're doing a Shakespearean drama or a slapstick comedy, that will change the nature of the show. But you could be doing a slapstick comedy and it's horrible behind the scenes, like nobody's getting along, it's not funny at all. And you can be doing, like, I just did a film that I co-wrote, and I was lucky enough to be on the set. This is a thriller, and it's a thriller, and it's dark and it's heavy, and we had so much fun. So it's like, it doesn't really matter the nature of the work. When we were working, of course, we took it very seriously and quiet on the set. It wasn't like people were joking and laughing while people were trying to act seriously, right? That didn't happen. But we made sure, and that also has to do so much with the director. And I have to say, Michelle Schumacher, who directed that movie, she creates a set that is amazing. It was like fun, collaborative, but very serious, and we're really focused, but she was so open to people giving ideas, and it was an amazing experience. And we had many, many people that have done very big movies talk about how their experience on that set was one of the best experiences they've ever had. They had so much fun, even though it was a very dark subject. So we know as artists, this ability to change, to morph, to go from one thing to the next. You work on a film, that film's ends, you go to a new film with all new people, often some of the same, but even if there's some of the same, the whole thing changes, right? So we are experts at this. You write a song, you write the next song. You do an album, that album has a life of its own, and then the next project comes in and it changes and morphs and different people play on it, and like, it's amazing. So really, like, own that. If you write one, you're writing this play over here, and that might feel different than the book you're writing, and that will feel different than the screenplay you're writing. You write this screenplay versus that screenplay, right? It's constant change. So it's really great because we are experts at it. So as you apply your ability to shift from one project to the next, from being an artist and flowing in your art, apply that to your life when you have change happening. Know that, well, I'm an expert at this. I do it every day in my artistic world. Why can't I just apply that to my life? Use your skills as a writer. If you're here, you're a writer. Even if you've never written a screenplay, if you're a reader, you're a writer. So write, journal, get it out of your system, talk about it to yourself, right? These are the ways that we can survive doing that. So I hope this is resonating with you. If you're watching our YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe, because we're going to do a lot of trainings. There's already a lot of trainings on there that you can watch, but that way you'll be notified. There's a bell you can hit, and you'll be notified whenever we have a new video that's coming out. And then we will always post it ahead of time and give you a heads up whenever I'm doing a live training. It's usually we just give you a heads up a couple of days before. We know a lot of people watch these on the replay, so definitely do that. Come back in so that you can watch the other trainings so that you can learn even more. We also are always looking for, what do you want? What do you want to learn about? And so you can put that in the comments. You can email us at team@hollywoodgatekeepers.com. We are constantly, putting up new things, putting up new trainings, putting out surveys, putting out polls. Like, we just want to know, what do you want to know? And then we'll create trainings around that. So we're having a blast doing that. So definitely stay involved and do that. If you're here today, or if you're watching the replay, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Make sure you stay in our Facebook group so that you can learn all about all the things that we're doing. So now, as we navigate, so we've done the first one, there's been a lot of change in the history of Hollywood. We also are change experts, being here in the industry, being an artist, right? And then we also can prepare ourselves by really looking at our history of change. Like, go back in your life and really think about, what were the times where you had change in your life? What were the times where you went through something that propelled a big change? Sometimes those are big happy things. You got married, and it was a beautiful, lovely day, or you graduated and it was so awesome, and now you're moving into something else. Or maybe they aren't so great to begin with. You have a medical diagnosis that was serious and you have to deal with that. All of these things, life is messy and beautiful and lovely and awful, all of it. And that's what makes us great writers and great artists and great filmmakers, is by taking the authenticity of those changes and putting them on the page, right? So going back in your life and looking through things, especially if you have designated in your mind that something that you went through was a failure. That's one of my favorite kinds of changes because I need help. No, one of my favorite kinds of changes are the things we label as failures. Because really, what a failure means is that I had this expectation. This thing didn't meet that expectation, so therefore it failed. Now, someone else may have that same experience and be like, this was amazing. This was a total success. But because you had a certain expectation, it failed. So go back and look at the failures that you've had, especially if, when people say they lost a lot of money in something, what you just did was you invested in an education. If you lose money in something, you just paid for an education. We paid hundreds of $1,000s for education. So if something is failing financially, that could be the education that you need in that moment, right? So being able to look at things as an education, and then also looking at this thing that was difficult, or this thing that was, why me? The moments when you go, why me? When those moments happen, sometimes it's really hard to see in the moment, but look back on the moments where you've had that. Look back on these why me moments, and then see kind of what came out of those. So many of you know that the reason that I'm a reader is because I got in a car accident. I mean, that was really the catalyst that got me to become a reader. I was a professional dancer before the car accident. Had zero interest in, didn't even know being a reader was a thing. I was just dancing away. I liked writing. I'd been writing screenplays for fun, but not really taking it seriously until the car accident. And I'm like, now what I'm going to do? Started writing screenplays, learned about being a reader, was like, well, there it is. I'm all in. And here I am. If I hadn't gotten that car accident, I would have gone through the whole thing that dancers go through, which I dodged the dancer having to retire because they can't dance anymore, which is a really painful period for a dancer. That was ended like that for me. I didn't have to go through it that way. I went through it a different way. So that's what led to this. So being able to look at the times in your life where, this thing happened, but if this hadn't happened, I might not have met this particular person. Or, I heard someone did a story the other day where they paid a bunch of money for a mastermind. They paid like $65,000 to be in Tony Robbins' mastermind. And someone said, well, was it worth it? And they were like, well, I met my wife. So you know what I mean? Like, it's like, you never know what thing might lead to something. So being able to kind of look back and see, you have 100% survival rate. If you're watching this, here we are talking about movies. Life is grand. Like, if we can spend any time talking about movies, things are awesome. So you have this survival rate. So as the next thing, as you look at that, so you look at the history of Hollywood is the first thing. You realize as artists, we are experts at change. You look at what you've survived so far and how that is like put together. And then kind of taking all of that knowledge and being like, okay, let's prepare then. We are in a flux right now. We are in a lot of change. So what do you think about that change? Being aware, write it down, look at it. How do you feel about AI coming? How do you feel about all of the global things that are happening? How do you feel about all the diverse voices? I feel fantastic about that. That's super, so many great opportunities, right? But how does that affect you personally? So what are the things that you see and how do you feel about them? If AI just sounds horrible to you, where is your role in this change? So if AI sounds horrible to you, maybe you're going to double down on human connection and you're going to start saying to people, I will work with you one-on-one on the phone. I will come to your house. I don't know what it is, right? We are going to meet in person. I am only going to work on screenplays in my community. I'm not going to do the global thing. I'm going to stick to the people I know. I'm going to stick to my community and do it. That's a total possibility. There are so many ways that you can support writers, producers, and be just that one-on-one connection. People need that. People need that human connection. The more we have global communication, the more interaction of human connection is, the more valuable that will be. Or maybe AI is so exciting to you. And maybe you can help that writer that is terrified of it to bridge the gap to it, where you're taking it and you're helping them. Maybe there's so many opportunities with AI, becoming an AI engineer, understanding GPT and learning how to prompt it and learning how to create, different things with different AI platforms. So really understanding the difference between automation and AI, which we'll go into on another day. So like really, really seeing, where do you fit? Where does it feel right to you? Just relax and understand where it is, which brings me perfectly into the last thing, and that is creating your goals within that. So there's a thing called SMART goals. It's very common. People talk about it all the time. SMART goals is an acronym for a goal that is specific, meaning you like, I want to finish the screen reader course, or I want to join the screen reader course, so I want to write my screenplay. It's very specific. It's measurable. So I want to write 3 pages a day so that I can write a screenplay in a month. So those of you that write 3 pages a day can finish your screenplay in a month. Just say it. So you can measure it, right? It's actionable. It's something that you actually, it's not just a theory. I want to be a reader. That's a theory, right? That I want to take the screen reader course is an action. So something that's very actionable, right? And then something that is realistic. I'm not really in the running to be a Laker. So making sure, but realistic, I really want to kind of caution you, or, really make you think. A lot of people think that writing a screenplay is not realistic. So open up your mind to what realistic means for you. Yeah, things that you can actually do that maybe you don't know how to do yet, but it doesn't mean you can't do them. But make it realistic in that you're not doing something that you're using this outlandish goal to keep you stuck. People do that all the time, where I'm going to do this big old thing, and it makes it very vague and way out there, and this big old thing, and then they never get it done because it's not specific or measurable or actionable or realistic, right? And then that it's time-based. I'm going to do this particular thing at this amount of time. I'm going to write 3 pages every day for a month and finish my screenplay, right? I'm going to do a lesson in the course every day and finish the screen reader course, whatever it might be for you. That's a typical SMART goal. But we at Hollywood Gatekeepers, using the life coach thing, we jump in and add a little thing over the top of it. So I want to leave you with this. I hope that, I'm so glad. Thank you, Alyssa. I'm not sure if it's Alyssa or Elisa. That is definitely, you feel overwhelmed by the change that AI is bringing, right? So looking at the changes that you've been through, looking at what are your goals in particular, can help kind of regulate, do this too. That's always helpful. Regulate that nervous system, right? Go for walks, take showers, take baths. All of that helps too. But being able to really sort of understand that change is inevitable, that we have survived many, many changes, that you have personally survived many, many changes throughout your life, even as a child learning to walk, and then as a child learning to run, and then as a child playing whatever sports you played, or all the things we went through. You survived junior high, okay? So if you survived junior high, you can do anything. That's all I'm saying. So now taking your SMART goal and saying, okay, what is the Hollywood Gatekeepers SMART goal? Now, we've done this before, but I have a lot of new people these days. So the Hollywood Gatekeepers SMART goal is, Lisa, thank you, is smile. You smile. Like, it is amazing how much a smile, even if you're not feeling it. So I don't know if you've ever seen Amy Cuddy's TED Talk on about power poses. It is amazing. Definitely watch that. But it's the idea that you do the action with your body before you feel it. So bring yourself to smile. And then to melt, just melt. And then to allow or align, whatever you're, bring in your faith, bring in your allowance of things that happen, regardless of how they happen. So you're not so married. You've got your technical SMART goal that we just did, right? You're doing these actions. And now you're putting this on the top, that you're doing these actions. You're just going to allow the outcome to happen, instead of being so married to it that if it doesn't happen the way you said it should, it's going to be a failure. Just allow it to happen. And then relax, feel the relax, really go through your body, allow your body to relax and regulate. Those both go together. Relax, regulate, and finally trust. Trust in yourself, trust in everything you've been through, trust in whatever spiritual belief you have, trust in the people that you are with, trust that you are here right now doing this, that you're watching this, you're making some choices right now that are good. Trust in all of it. So that's what I have for you today. Those are kind of 5 things that you can look at so that you can survive change as we navigate through these changes. And as you navigate through these changes, and as Hollywood navigates through massive changes in how we consume content, how we market content, how we create content, it is changing every day. So big producers and big heads of media are also feeling all of this. This is why we're striking, and there's all of this, just angst of people. We're striking for change. We're striking because we didn't like the changes that were happening. There's all kinds of reasons why striking is happening. There's all kinds of reasons why it's taking so long. Even after the strike is over, things will continue to change. Change is inevitable. So how can we be part of this change in a positive way? How can you see and just watch and relax and just see, where do you fit within it? And then where's the opportunity for you personally? Because I guarantee there is one. There's always something. So being able, if you do these SMART goals and you do the Hollywood Gatekeepers Relax in the SMART goal, when you come at it like that, the opportunities will become more available just because you'll be more relaxed and able to see them. So it'll open you up to be able to see the things that are right in front of you that are amazing opportunities. I hope this is helpful for you. And I hope you can take this, apply it to your goals, and make that stuff happen. We have a program in our Insider Track membership called Goal Getters. Some of you, I see the names of people that are in there already that are showing up. We meet every Monday for half an hour, and we just work on our one goal for the week, so we can get to know what are the goals that we have for this week. And then if we don't do them, we can see why and we can move forward. So use these techniques to create your goal. Definitely subscribe to the channel so that you can see more videos like this. Let us know what else you would like to learn. Just put it in the comments or email us at team@hollywoodgatekeepers.com, or just, smoke signals, whatever. Just let us know what you want to know, and keep an eye out for emails and polls and all the things that we will send out to get your opinion on things that you would like to learn so that we can provide that for you. All right, you guys, so great to see you. Thank you so much for showing up. Power of showing up is so, so very important. Yeah, Goal Getters is the best way to start your week for sure. All right, you guys, we even do a dance break. Very important. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Thanks for coming.